Here's how to properly use the Folicule Brown pigment. Hey everyone, I'm Matt Aiulo. I'm the co-founder of Folicule, and in today's video, I'm going to illustrate how to properly dilute and mix the Folicule Brown pigment. But before we get into that, let me share some of the new and exciting updates about the Folicule Brown. Folicule has partnered with Hanafy Colored Pigments, one of the largest purveyors in permanent makeup pigments. This is really exciting news. This will allow Folicule to tap into Hanafy's international distribution so that we can now reach scalp artists all around the world. Hanafy also has an amazing research and development team. They even have their own chemist on staff, which is great for when we're improving and updating our formulations. Finally, Hanafy has always been really deliberate and conscious about the ingredients that they use or don't use in their pigments. And this is really important because we want to always ensure that Folicule has the most updated, improved, and highest quality materials being used in our formulations. We are really excited about this new partnership with Hanafy, and we know you guys will be as well. So what's new about our Folicule Brown? Well, as you can see, it looks a little bit different, and that's because the bottle is larger. This is a 20 milliliter bottle as opposed to our old bottle, which was 15 milliliters. So this has more liquid in each bottle. It also comes with a really convenient dropper feature, which will allow you to transfer pigment between the bottle and your mixture cup much easier. So one of the most exciting updates to our new Folicule Brown is the way that this looks and feels. In the past, we heard your feedback that the brown did not always stay mixed so well, and that would separate from the black carbon, and you would have to continually mix throughout treatment. You no longer have to do that. We have changed that for you. You will find that this brown is very chocolatey and rich and does not need to continue to be mixed. It also does not need to be diluted too much because it comes ready to use out of the bottle. In fact, it could work well mixing with our Folicule Black. Say you want to get a deeper, richer tone of brown, all you have to do is add a drop or two of our black pigment, and that will deepen the brown for use on your clients. What I really like about this brown is it's ready to use right out of the bottle. Very little dilution is needed, as you'll see based off our Folicule dilution chart. Okay, so now let's talk about how to properly use the brown pigment in treatment. The first step is always going to be to identify the skin tone and hair color of your client. Now for Folicule Brown, the best clients are those that are light-skinned and light-haired, maybe a Fitzpatrick 1 or 2. This is a scale that helps identify how light your skin tone of your client is. I have used brown on clients that fall in a very light, pale skin and light, fair hair. They may be clients that have freckles, that have a bit of brown or ginger or red into their hair. Folicule Brown will work great for these type of clients. It can also work very well for those with very translucent or light skin. Some Asian ethnicities actually fall in this range as well. Finally, Folicule Brown is a great choice for density fills. So if your client is a female or has longer hair and wants to densify that longer hair, you may choose Folicule Brown to do the job. Once you've examined your client and understand their skin tone and hair color, next you should check out our Folicule dilution card and see where they fall in this range. You'll notice for Folicule Brown, the range isn't very wide. There's very little dilution needed for our brown. If your client is very, very light skin, has translucent skin, and very fair hair, you might want to be at the higher end of this range, say maybe a Folicule Brown number 8 or number 6. For those with a little bit warmer skin and maybe a little bit darker tone of brown or red hair, you can be on the lower end of this range, maybe a Folicule Brown 2 or 4. Again, not much water dilution is needed with the Folicule Brown. And as mentioned earlier, you may even find it beneficial to add a drop or two of our Folicule Black into the brown to get a richer, deeper brown color. So here's an example of a client that we used a number 6 Folicule Brown on, and you can see how amazing those results look. And this example is a client we used Folicule Brown number 2 on, and I also added a drop of our Folicule Black into that mixture just to get it a little bit deeper. All right, so now let's properly dilute our Folicule Brown. Like we showed in the example, we're going to do a dilution of brown number 2, which is gonna be very easy. So the first step, like in all your dilution, is to add the water content. So for a Folicule Brown number 2, we are going to measure 2 milliliters of water. Not a lot of dilution is needed for our brown, remember. That range is really, really tight. Anywhere from 2 to maybe 6 or 8 milliliters of water. For this example, we're doing a number 2, that's 2 milliliters of water. So you take your 10 milliliter syringe, you're going to stick the nozzle into the distilled water. Remember, this is distilled water we're using. And you're gonna slowly draw the liquid line up to the 2 milliliter line. And then take those 2 milliliters, you pour that into your pigment cup. You are done with your water measurement. Next, you're gonna wanna use our brown Folicule. These bottles, besides looking absolutely beautiful, are also really user-friendly. They come with that dropper feature. All you'll need to do is twist that cap. When you do that, it actually sucks the pigment into the dropper, for easy transfer. And so we'll want to do this a couple times just to get enough pigment into that cup to measure. When you reinsert, all you have to do is push that button in, put your nozzle in, release. That has now sucked up more pigment, and you can transfer again. You want to do this 2 or 3 times just to get enough pigment so that you can measure. That should be more than enough for our brown, and now we can measure. So the last part is to use your 1 milliliter syringe. Open this up right here. It's a 1 milliliter syringe, and that's the amount that you're going to measure. So you're going to measure enough brown to go the length of that measurement. Again, what I like to do is just kind of tilt the cup a little bit, stick the nozzle in, slowly draw that pigment all the way up to the 1 milliliter mark. Make sure that everything's lined up. Good to go. And we will get that pushed into our cup. You can do a little mix right there, and you'll see a really nice, rich brown. That's a number 2. That is going to be great for most of your very light-skinned, fair-haired clients. You're not usually going to need to use much more dilution than that. In fact, as I explained earlier in the video, you may even decide you want it to be a little bit darker and deeper brown. In order to do that, you just grab your Folicule Black. You can do that simple twist. And for this, you can add a drop or 2, your discretion, to just give it a little bit of a darker tone. And that'll mix really clean. You can just kind of swirl that around or use your previous measuring syringe to make sure all that matches and mixes. And there you go, you have a deeper, richer brown. And there you have it. That's how you mix the Folicule brown pigment. And that's how you can also add a drop of black to the brown if you desire. Remember, these pigments are easily mixed and they will not separate during your treatment.